I'm a black man trying not to get caught. I'm just trying to solve the puzzle like a jigsaw. You know it's a big world, so easy to get lost. I'm just trying to solve the puzzle like a jigsaw.
What's going on, y'all? And we are back here another week on the Jigsaw. I am Josh Rodgers.
I am Brian Hare.
And welcome back to the show where we talk about how we navigate this crazy thing called life. It is the Jigsaw Podcast where we talk about the perils, the praises, the productivity, and the pomp and circumstance of being a black person in America. Brother, how are you?
I am doing wonderful. Actually, I'm doing pretty good. As always, it's great to be black.
Yes, sir.
We are here in the land of the living. We survived yet another week, year, day, whatever. So I'm glad. I'm glad to be here. How about you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm excited about a few possibilities and projects and stuff that I got going on. So I'm in a good space. I'm a little tired, but I'm in a good space, man. I got a question for you though.
Okay,
before we jump into the show. So, you know, we're in this kind of interesting space in television.
Mm-hmm.
And for y'all who know, y'all know we love TV, so just expect to hear about TV.
Love TV.
So I've been trying to fill my dead TV time with things.
Okay.
Do you watch or have you heard of The Boys on Amazon?
It's funny that the title, you would think The Boys. I've heard of the show The Boys, and I've actually seen an episode or two. Shouts out to my barber. I saw it in the barbershop, so I am aware of The Boys.
Barbershop is always a great place to preview stuff. So
yes, I
started season 1 yesterday.
Okay.
I am on episode 6 right now. It is about superheroes, but bro, it is some wild and crazy stuff going on in this here show.
Really?
So I don't know if you're into like that world of like superheroes and all that kind of stuff. But even if you're not, I think you'd enjoy this. So,
okay,
you know, I don't give out these trash recommendations. So just trust me on this. And if you don't like it, you know, you can always come back to me and, you know, talk bad about me or whatever. Let me ask you this though, while we're still on TV.
Okay.
Have you finally finished P-Valley, my friend?
I have not finished P-Valley.
I am sick of you.
I'm sick of myself.
I'm sick of you.
Well, the thing is that I was, you know, those of who are married or, you know, in relationship, that, you know, usually your spouse doesn't want you to watch shows, especially shows that they want to watch without them. But then Lauren gave me the green light to go do it by myself, but I haven't had the opportunity really to go do it by myself. So it may be a situation where I, you know, knocked it out during the day. Now that my in-laws are in town, so I may, you know, while I'm going to be working in the office, I might be watching P-Valley.
Okay. I'm just disappointed. I am so.
Well, I think I made it through like episode 4, I think, and then yeah.
Okay. God bless.
But by next week, I will have watched it. I promise you.
Okay, we'll see. Okay, y'all heard that, but it's cool. Go ahead, do your thing.
Don't be like that. But yeah, you know, so that's good though. I would definitely watch P-Valley. It's a good show. It's a great show, and I trust your recommendation. I will also be watching The Boys. I saw one episode, I think, where the young lady who had the superpowers was on a man's face.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I saw. Oh, mighty God! I saw that one.
Hello, somebody.
That thing was disgusting. I'm not even gonna try to hype that up, but yeah, you saw an interesting episode.
I saw it in the barbershop.
Interesting. The barbershop would do that, man.
The barbershop is a great place.
That place.
It's a great place. And speaking of a great place, I'm in a great place right now because my Los Angeles Lakers won the championship. So I'm excited about Jesus.
Hooray.
I'm excited about Jesus.
You guys know how I feel about sports, but congrats to the Los Angeles Lakers and the city of Los Angeles and LeBron James and all that goes with that.
Yes, this one was for Kobe Bryant. Those of us who are in Laker Nation, we understood the magnitude of the loss of Kobe Bryant, and we needed this win. We
y'all needed
this
to
win.
win. Now I can definitely agree about the magnanimous loss that the earth has felt, with Kobe Bryant passing. I understand his impact on culture and legacy. So while I'm not the biggest sports fan, I get that. But again, hooray to the Los Angeles Lakers, and kudos to them for winning. What I will say is that here's an interesting tidbit about that. My wife made me watch the actual championship game.
Really?
And she fell asleep on it. I'm like, woman, she said, we ought to be watching it. I was like, whatever. So I turned off Living Single.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Put it on whatever channel I was watching, ABC, NBC, whatever was on. And we watched it. I looked over to the right. I said,
and
woman of God is
mouth open and everything.
And I actually, but you know what? I stayed with it because one thing I will say about sports and me is that while I'm not a big sports fan, I like the competitiveness of like championships. So like while the Super Bowl is kind of like this cultural thing, I actually am usually in tune for that game. March Madness is one of my favorite times of the year just because of how competitive it is. So like I'm not a huge sports fan, but like the final game is usually one that I can actually watch because I know like those boys be playing for something. Like the Miami Heat, while they lost, like they were trying their best. To get to a game 7. It just didn't happen. So,
and I respect Miami Heat. They Jimmy Buckets, did a great job. Miami is a dope city. I can't wait to get there.
Whew. I can't wait to get there.
Looking to get there.
That's what Dorinda said. But anybody with a name like Jimmy, he was gonna fight. that boy government name is Jimmy. It ain't a nickname. His name is Jimmy.
Black people will have the nickname or the abbreviated name as their first name.
Yep.
Willie.
Name is Jimmy Butler. If you didn't know he was black, man. So no, for real though. Congrats to Los Angeles, the Lakers, not the Clippers. The Lakers,
not the Clippers.
Great win. And I wonder how awkward that is for them to be in the same city, and the city is celebrating this team, and you're just kind of there.
You just and the thing.
I mean, you grew up there. You grew up. So how was that climate? Like when LA would win championships, and
the Clippers have always been a laughing stock in LA. They've always been like the little brother of the Los Angeles Lakers. They've had some seasons where they've been good. And this was supposed to be their season where they're supposed to win the championship. And then there was all this talk about, this is our year, our city. We're the best team in LA, and they didn't even make it to the finals. Like didn't even make it close to the finals.
Mighty God! Do you think that they would one day leave LA? Or
they should.
Or they forever have this chip on their shoulder?
My understanding is they're actually building a stadium, an arena, in Inglewood. So they're actually building. So this the irony of it all. The owner, Steve Ballmer, he's a billionaire. He purchased the Great Western Forum in Inglewood, which is where the Los Angeles Lakers used to play. And he bought that, and he's revamping and revitalizing that in the community and stuff like that. So they're going to stay in LA. They're moving to Inglewood, which is where the Lakers used to play.
Okay.
But you're still going to be the Clippers. And honestly, if the Clippers win like a championship or two, it would always be like a Lakers town. So regardless of whatever happens in the near future, they would have to win like 10 championships in a row, and then it still may not necessarily be a Clipper town.
No, I get that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That much at least makes sense.
No one cares. Inglewood, Brandy's Donuts, the Dunes.
They should have put it in Compton. And be the Compton Clippers.
That's what they should do.
Yeah, the Compton Clippers. That's dope. You got the Brooklyn Nets.
Right. That would have been dope. Compton Clippers.
Yeah, I mean, because I think you got the New York Knicks and then the Brooklyn Nets. So it's like the LA Lakers and the Compton Clippers.
Right. I'd do it.
Listen, you can have all the gangs be security. It could just be a thing. It could be a thing.
It could be a thing.
But speaking of security, early voting, we want to put this out here.
Yes.
Make sure that you are creating. I don't know what security has to do with it, but that was my segue. Make sure that you, as our forever first lady has told us, have a voting plan. And that should likely include early voting. Why? Because even in Georgia, where people are experiencing anywhere between 4 to 7 hours of voting waiting lines, and it's probably going to be even more massive on actual election day. So if you have not turned in your paper ballot by now, or it's probably, I don't want to say it's too late, but based on some of the information that I've seen, you would have likely needed to turn that in like today in order for it to get there, be counted, and all those other different types of things. So at this point, if you did not turn in the mail-in ballot, please go to an early voting location. The beautiful thing about early voting is that you do not have to go to your designated precinct. You can go anywhere within your county and you can vote. The unfortunate fact is that a lot of counties have a limited number of voting locations. But a lot of counties are also putting out apps to show you like which locations has the shortest lines and things like that. So make sure you are doing your research. You're utilizing all types of technology to make sure that you are not experiencing voter suppression, because these long lines and all this other kind of stuff is a form of voter suppression. And we just want to make sure that everybody in the Jigsaw is registered. All of our Jigsaw listeners are registered and that they are able to vote. And please vote early. If you have an absentee ballot, I don't know about other states, but I can tell you in Georgia, you do not have to mail that in. You can take that absentee ballot, find out where the drop-off box is, and you can drop it off. You can even do that up until the day of the election. So your absentee ballot will be counted. So don't think just because you still have it that it's void. No, you can mark it up, create your selections. Please read the instructions carefully, because we're seeing and hearing about things where people are like, there's like, if you mess something up, you sign the wrong thing like that, your ballot can be void. So make sure that you are thoroughly reading the instructions and the directions, and you can drop off the absentee ballot in the ballot box at the designated absentee ballot spot. All right. So go early, drop off those absentee ballots, and if all else fails, stand in line for 13 hours on November 3rd. Whatever you do, make sure you vote. Have you voted yet, Brian?
I haven't voted yet, but we definitely have a plan. We have been looking at the app every single day, and seeing how I work from home. I have hopefully at some point planned to vote early if possible. So I've been checking the line. So the thing is, it just opened up recently, so I decided not to go first week. So I'm thinking about next week. Keep looking at it, and then go at specific times. But then also, if I'm going to go, I'm going to take my snacks and my food and drink and stuff like that, so I can make sure that if I do encounter a long line, I can, be prepared, and I will not let a long line deter me from doing my civic duty, my duty as a Black person, since we worked so hard to get this right. This is, there's really no, unless you just have not registered to vote, you should have already registered to vote. There's really no excuse not to exercise your right to vote. We have plenty of time. If you're in a metro area, some of the arenas are now being used as early voting precincts. So there's no excuse. I'm gonna do it. And I definitely, like Josh said, I encourage everybody else, especially that listen to this show. Y'all should be voting.
Y'all should be voting.
It's what we do.
That's what we do. So you're right. Ashton and I are the same thing. We have our voting plan. We're thinking about maximizing one of those Saturdays, just getting up early and doing it. But we're also going to have our snacks, our coffee. We have those little like picnic stadium chair, the little foldable chair things. We're going to bring those with us. So we're going to be ready. Oh, we're already going to drop the kids off with her mom, because when we voted for the primaries, I think it took us like 5-6 hours.
Wow. Okay.
Vote, like we went at like 6-ish, and we didn't get home till almost after midnight. So we actually, that's a whole nother story. We talk about that level of suppression we endured on another episode. But I will say, do not give up, because right when we were almost ready, it's when we were like, we got our chance to vote. So do not give up. Do not give up. Brian, you want to get into the song of the week? Start the show off for real?
Yes. And how am I going to do this one? I'm trying to think if I'm gonna go straight into the verse or do the beginning part.
Take us in there.
I'm gonna do the beginning, but I'm gonna skip to a part that may be more noticeable.
Okay, I'm ready.
Yeah, 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 go away. Yeah, 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 go away. This is America.
Okay.
Don't get you slipping now. Don't get you slipping now. Look what I'm whipping now. Don't get me slipping now. Don't get you slipping now. Look what I'm whipping now.
Remember, I thought we was finna kumbaya. I thought we was going straight into some devotional tongues.
Somebody's here, my Lord. Come by here.
That's a dope song, man. Childish Gambino is
Yeah.
shout out to Childish Gambino. He's amazing, dope artist. I love Donald Glover, Childish Gambino, whoever he is in whatever moment.
Right. This is America, though.
This if the words have never, ever, ever, ever rang more clear, they are ringing clear right about now. But all right, let's get ready and like get a little bit lighter and recognize some Black excellence. Let's get into the Bless Up Report.
Let's go. All righty, we are here at the Bless Up Report where we come and we salute Black excellence. So
hallelujah.
We believe in it. We believe in it.
We believe in it.
We believe in it. Christmas is coming up. Josh, it is your favorite holiday. Am I right?
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Boom, 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 boom. Jack Frost nipping at your nose. That's what's his name? What's his name?
Nat King Cole?
His name. No, the version I'm singing is of the Temptations. Okay, but David Ruffin was already out the group. This was Denzel was on the album.
This the one where Blue ends it. Merry Christmas, everybody, and a Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas from the Temptations. No, that is actually the Drummer Boy on that same album. Give Love at Christmas Day, my absolute favorite Christmas album. But anyway, you were saying.
Also, so those that do not know, Christmas, Joshua Jamal Rodgers loves
November 1st. I start
Christmas. You start what? Listening to music?
I start officially celebrating November 1st. So it begins with listening to music. It begins with, mild decorations. It begins.
Jesus.
It begins November 1st.
What normally I, don't really do too much Christmas, but I have a child now. So I'm doing more Christmas, I'm doing more Christmas this year.
God has delivered you from this spirit.
That Grinch spirit been on me. That Grinch spirit been on me. So you all celebrate Christmas a lot. So what color is y'all Santa?
Black. My Santa and my Jesus are both black.
They're both black.
They are black. What you heard.
Yes, your Santa is black. So with that being said, bless up to Jacquelyn Rodgers. No relation to you, unless, somewhere down the line. You never know. We all kinfolk. Jacquelyn Rodgers of Greentop Gifts. She created this company that pretty much brings some diversity to your holiday celebrations. We've actually been we've actually been supporting Greentop Gifts for a couple years now, where she has wrapping paper. We started buying her wrapping paper for our gifts, and we believe in supporting Black businesses and supporting Black stuff. So the Santa is Black. So we've been buying the wrapping paper for some years now, but now she's even expanding. So you can get some apparel, you can get some home decor, you can get some stationery, you can get almost everything on that website. So Greentop Gifts, greentopgifts.com. You can get all kind of stuff on there regarding Christmas decorations and stuff like that. This is not just your, even though it's Black owned, oftentimes we, want to give them exposure, but she's already gotten the exposure, but we definitely want to continue to build this brand. She's been on NBC News. She's been on People Magazine, or being in People Magazine. Oprah even shouted her out in her magazine. So please go out there, and the time is now, really, because I think 1 year, everything sold out pretty quickly because it's a hot commodity. Mm-hmm. So go out there early as you can. Go on greentopgifts.com. Support our dear sister Jacquelyn Rodgers and her family. She's a family woman. We got to support Black families and Black businesses. So get out there and do that as soon as possible. We're going to put that information, the website and stuff like that, inside of the liner notes, I believe, of our.
It'll be in the description box.
All right, it'll be in the description box. And please go out there and support as you can. Anything else?
No, man. I've actually bought some of the wrapping paper too. Clarence Claus, I believe is
You're
the
absolutely
name.
right.
Yeah,
Clarence?
Clarence Claus. Yeah, I bought
Yep.
some paper
Yep.
and have wrapped up some gifts, and it's dope quality paper.
It is. Oh, I didn't even say that. It's quality
Paper. It is not your Dollar Tree paper. It ain't gonna rip on you fast. None of that good stuff.
It's good quality paper.
Yeah, absolutely. It is the Josh Rodgers Christmas. You know what, Brian? I think
What?
we need to do close to the holidays, Josh and Brian's like holiday list of just black stuff.
Oh, yes.
Like gift ideas and brands and all that kind of stuff. So
yes,
you know what? We gonna ask y'all. We gonna ask y'all what are some of your favorite brands and gifts and stuff to give. We're gonna do a whole episode.
Right. We're gonna do it. We need to do it because we got to support. And I'm on the clock in the Christmas spirit this year. Like I'm really excited about Christmas. So, we'll
I'm so happy.
Look at God. Won't God change your life?
Blue said, I wrote a note to Santa and I needed it because it would be Christmas every day. And I would have the Christmas spirit all through the year. It would be Christmas every day. What a lovely Christmas. See, you got me in the Christmas spirit.
And we're moving. We're moving on.
Rabbit, I might have to pull out my stuff early.
You got like 3 weeks.
I have to pull it out early. Oh my God, the quarantine been kind of nudging Asher to want to put stuff up early. I've been like, no, we're not that bored yet. But this conversation has done something to my spirit, man.
Don't let me come over your house and you got Christmas stuff up. All right.
Listen, I'll tell you, we know I love Christmas so much, and we're gonna move on. Because if there was no Christmas, there would be no Easter. Woo, if he wasn't born, he couldn't have died.
He was born to die. Headshot. Woo. God, we thank you. We thank you.
Ooh, I'm about to get around up. I'm about to have a whole conniption behind this here mic. Oh, take me to the billboard so we can move on.
We are going to the billboard before we start playing shout music up in here.
Hallelujah to Jesus. All right,
let's go to the billboard.
Okay, this week. Oh,
glory to God.
Jesus. On the billboard.
There's a stirring in my spirit.
That thing would catch me up. You don't play about my little baby mulatto Jesus. Woo. All right. Ooh, Beano Bubble. I'm back. All right. So this week on the billboard, starting off with some kind of tragic news, I would kind of say. So unless you've been under some type of rock, you've probably heard about SARS, and we're not talking about the medical disease, but we're talking about this Nigerian task force that stands for, I had it, here it is, the Special Anti-Robbery Squad in Nigeria. So basically, if you look at the name, you would think that it would be something really dope, like it's special anti-robbery, that they're going to be really helping people. But no, it is just really corrupt unit.
The irony.
Right. This really, really, really corrupt unit in the Nigerian police force. And like Brian said it perfectly, the irony, because they are the special like anti-robbery thing, but they're actually taking bribes and robbing people and like taking money from people and all this other kind of stuff in exchange for what freedom is supposed to be, in exchange for allowing people to live their lives as normal. They're like harassing people and doing all other type of stuff. So we've been seeing on social media specifically all of these protests and this kind of outrage and this upheaval specifically from millennials and young people really, speaking out against the tragic nature of what this SARS unit is. Reminds of just our regular police over here in America. Just ain't no special unit. they just
regular.
They just ragged in regular. So, but we're keeping all the people. We're keeping all the people in Nigeria in our prayers and uplifted, and you have our support. I know there's not a whole lot we can do stateside, but what we can do is continue to spread the word. Push information and do whatever we can with technology to help you move forward in your cause. All righty. So speaking of like corrupt people, the Republicans are The Republicans have just they're pushing forward their U.S. Supreme Court nominee, Miss Amy Coney Barrett. She's been in her confirmation hearings the last couple of days. And I'll be honest with you, I've been tuned out most of it. But from some of the recaps that I've been hearing on NPR and some of the things I've been reading, a lot of stuff hasn't been that surprising. She's pro-life, which I really think they're like, when people, especially Republicans and major conservatives, say that they're pro-life, I think they're pro-birth.
Right.
Because when that baby get here, you don't care nothing about that baby life. And if that mother who, for whatever reasons, may have chose to abort, let's just say that she could not because of some law that may come into place at some point, right? If she needs assistance or she is unable to take care of the baby, you're going to end up talking about her as a deadbeat mother and an unfit mother But if you're pro-life, then you should be concerned about that baby's life. So I mean, you should be looking at ways in which to fund education. You should be looking at ways to fund Medicare, Medicaid, and all these different types of things that will make sure that that baby has a healthy life. So all of the pro-life stand. I know that was a tangent, but it's
okay. I stand with you.
Listen, y'all are pro-birth. Y'all are not pro-life. But anyway, but all the pro-life stuff and all the other, all the other kind of conservative values, it's not surprising. What is surprising but not shocking, I think the New York Times did an article on her, Brian, that while she was a judge in Illinois, she wrote an opinion about a gentleman who was called nigger, hard ER. In his workplace, and basically she agreed that the word itself is egregious and it should not be used. However, she did not agree that his supervisor, his white supervisor, using the word created a hostile work environment. She would have needed to know the why and the how it was used before she could give an opinion about whether or not it created a hostile work environment. And here's how off base she was. Brett Kavanaugh actually disagreed with her and said, regardless of why, it really doesn't matter. If your supervisor, who is white, called you a nigger, like, it created a hostile work environment. Yes. You don't need any proof. The fact that it was said, the fact that it can be proven that it was said is enough. So her stance on that alone is enough. I'm like the whole pro-life stuff and, LGBTQ rights and all those different kind of things. Like, I expect that from conservative, leaning people, right? Yeah. And whether you agree with that or not is your business, but I expect that, right? But at the same time, and I expect a certain level of racism, I'm gonna be honest too. But when you can really put out of your mouth and say being called a nigger from your superior does not create a hostile work environment, right? Like, come on.
Right. That to me, that's just it's similar to sexual harassment. Like if you're a boss, if I'm her boss and I'm calling her sweetie, baby, come here. What are some words that are just you just dare wouldn't say to a woman? The C word that the white women be going crazy about. I'm not gonna say it.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah. If I called you that, Karen would be livid. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's the same thing. Like, just because you don't know the context in which it was said, the word being said itself would cause a hostile work environment. And especially, I'm gonna get hostile. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's and no one just says certain words or just does certain things or just says certain words if usually there's no action to follow that behavior. So if you're out here calling people niggas, who knows what else you're doing? You're probably giving bad reviews. You're probably saying other things or doing other things that kind of back up that those words that you're spewing. So that's not.
Let me tell you one thing. You let one white anybody call me a nigga or nigger, and you see how hostile Josh Rodgers becomes. Let me just, especially in the workplace, I've been in Nat Turner that entire office. And I ain't laughed after that one because I am serious. Me and one of my most recent former supervisors got into it. He didn't call me out my name, but he used an expletive towards me. And Brian, I said,
man of God, did you stay saved?
I was saved. to the extent of your convictions, I might not have been saved, but I was saved. I said, well, what you won't do is cuss at me. He said, well, I said, well, listen. And at that point, when he tried to explain it, I saw red and I slammed his door. And he tried to shake my hand at the end of the day. Tell me, have a good evening. I said, Joe, I'm calling you. I said, Joe, go home. In the middle, we had an open workspace. I said, go home.
Oh, I thought you were in his office. I was like,
no. So the initial conversation was in his office.
Mm-hmm.
Then he tried to shake my hand, like at the end of the day, like it was out when I was at my desk. But I'm just saying, if that piece, and he didn't like cuss like me out, he was cussing at me. If that was enough to get me riled up, like, and that created a hostile work environment because our relationship was very awkward from that point on. Because I also knew he understood that he had the wrong one after that. But anyway, we could talk about that whole other episode too. Whiteness in corporate spaces. Woo, glory to God. You ever get me right? About to get me riled up on a whole other thing. I was just caught up in the rapture thinking about Jesus, and now I'm about to send somebody straight to the dark place because I'm talking about crazy white people. Let's go on. Speaking of crazy folk, Tory Lanez can be deported up where the majority of the people are white in Canada.
We don't want you here.
Because he's finally been charged against the shooting, with the shooting of Meg Thee Stallion. So I think there's some assault charges. I think there's some intent to do bodily harm charges. If I'm not mistaken, his case has been extended to like November-ish or so. It got like some weeks or so. Yeah, it got pushed back. But he has been charged. Tory has since got on the Twitter and said that charges does not mean convictions and things like that. So we'll be watching the story. He still hasn't right out said I did do it. While I don't think that would change anything, if you are fighting for your innocence, I just don't understand why that is not the first thing you would not say. Like, Brian, if you got caught doing anything, and you know you didn't do it, I believe the first thing you would say is, I didn't do it. I ain't do it. Yeah. And from that point, I'm trying to prove that I didn't do it. But my initial statement is going to be, I didn't do it. I'm not trying to use the fluff language. I'm not trying to do all these other things. I'm just straight up, I ain't do it. Right. So he didn't say that. He's been charged. Meg has been using her platform beautifully to support Black women and the protection of Black women and the ability for them to have all of this beautiful duality and still, you know what I'm saying, be respected and honored in ways that they should, right? It shouldn't have to be anything that they should fight for. It should just be. So we'll keep y'all updated. Hopefully this is one of the few times we have to talk about Tory Lanez on this platform, but there it is. And lastly, on the billboard, speaking of female women rappers, Cardi B.
We love her.
Cardi B celebrated a birthday, and boy, did she celebrate.
She celebrated.
She celebrated so much that, her bosoms made their way to the internet in an IG story that was deleted. And she pretty much was like, I got drunk. It was me, whatever. So shout out to Cardi B for just always being like this. I think that's her charm. We love her because she's so authentically her. No matter how crazy or quirky she is, she's her. She hasn't changed that. And if you actually look at her, bro, she throws out like quite a few pockets of wisdom, even in her goofiness. Like the fact that she took it, she owned it. She didn't try to like do this big PR thing about it. She deleted the thing. Right. And then she went on and addressed it. And she's like continuing to celebrate her birthday. Like, it happened. Like and I think the other part about it is too, she's a former stripper. So I think a part of her was like, all right, you saw a nip. You know how many people saw my nips? Like, I think that was the other part. She was unbothered by it, but at the same time, like she handled it well. Shout out to Cardi B. Happy belated birthday. And shout out for Cardi B too. For I don't know what goes on what went on between Cardi and Offset. What I do know is that she has a level of maturity about her and their relationship. Wow, because I think people were trying to come for him, and she was like, Cardi, I mean, Offset isn't a bad man. He's just a dumb man. And when she say dumb, she meant like because he cheated, blah, 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 blah. But she went on to say like, he protected her in the music business. He looked out for her. He was one of the few people who did not want to use her, all these different kind of things. And beyond all of that, he's the father of her child. So she was like, while y'all may think one thing, I always have to deal with this man. And I'm not going to let y'all say nothing bad. And I think that's a very mature stance. I think that is a way that we should, especially if the relationship didn't end like for any abuse or anything crazy like that. While you may have your personal differences, I do think that there's a level of, because I mean, just say it like this: God forbid something happen between me and Asha, I'm not gonna let people dog her in public.
At all.
I'm just not about to let it happen. She's the mother of my children. I'm just not about to let it happen. And I can feel whatever I want to feel, but I'm not about to let y'all dog her in public. And I just think that's a stance that Cardi is taking. So shout out to Belle Khalees. Shout out to Belle Khalees. Yes. All right, Brian, you ready to get into this living room conversation? Because I think we may be NWA -1.
Oh, I don't know if I'm ready for this, but
I think we better. So y'all, you know what? Get your good beverage.
Good beverage.
And head on down to the living room, sit on the couch, and we about to have some conversations. Y'all, you ready to do it, bro?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Let's go.
It's about to
All right, we are here in the living room. Thank y'all for joining us in the living room. Make sure you take your shoes off when you walk in the house. We got something to talk about. So I was scrolling the interwebs, social media, and then I saw a post where O'Shea Jackson Sr.,
Ice Cube,
yes, better known as Ice Cube, Craig, he, I guess, got shouted out by the Trump campaign.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
Which is interesting. I'm gonna go forward, where he had a whole song about a rap song, and he kind of dissed Eazy-E, talking about I would never have dinner with the president. I would never have dinner with the president. Basically saying like I think you a snitch and all that kind of stuff. You having dinner with the president. But come to find out that the man of God has been having dinner with the president and working with the Trump administration regarding what he considers to be some type of agreement or whatever to try to, I guess, negotiate with the administration. And have you heard about that part? Or?
So let me just get comfortable in my seat so I can talk about Craig.
Debo should have knocked him.
Should have knocked him out, because if we're gonna be honest, if it weren't for that brick.
That brick saved him.
If it weren't for that brick. Okay. But no, seriously. So I saw the conversations maybe a month and some change ago, somewhere around that timeline where where Ice Cube got on the internet saying that Joe Biden did not automatically deserve his vote. He had to earn it. And if, he would have a conversation. And part of me agrees with that logic, right? Yeah. I don't think that we have to blindly vote for anybody. I also, though, the flip side of me, believes that I don't know that we've had such a toxic and polarizing administration. At least not in this, I would say, Kennedy forward. I don't know that we've had anything like so toxic. Like, honestly, like none of them have been perfect. They probably have all had some overt racism or racist undertones and things like that, but nothing like what we've seen in this administration.
Nah,
right?
Nixon may have been close, but
Nixon may have been the closest one, but he was more scandalous on some other stuff that he was like with the kind of xenophobia, racism, and stuff that we're seeing today. So anyway, so I say that to say, while I do not believe you have to blindly vote for anyone.
No, not at all.
I do believe that the current administration is so terrible that it's almost like, bro, we don't like Kanye West is not a choice. Some other random third party person or fourth party person or feel like they're not choices. So, and while you could argue, and I think that was part of Ice Cube's point, right? That both sides, are corrupt and will lie. We've said it on this podcast several times. There are ways in which you can hold a Biden administration accountable that you probably would not be able to do with a Trump administration. And you have to also think about the residual effects of a Biden administration. You're talking about new secretaries of housing and HUD, like secretaries of state, secretary of, like all these different types of appointments, new AG, all these different type of things that affect daily life. So when you think about affordable housing, when you think about some of the gaps in education, like all these big high cabinet positions, like these people have the power and authority to make those changes.
Right.
So this is why voting for the president is more than about your whatever disdain or like pillowed discuss with both parties. Is also about the other things that can happen. It's about setting up a Kamala Harris who can also set up a greater administration. Like it's so many different things, but Ice Cube hurts my mental health.
Yeah. All of that. And that and Ice Cube, but also like just I've been voting since 2004, and
Age yourself.
don't do me. And I don't feel like it's ever been like this bad when in terms of my mental space, and when it comes to the election. And I don't know, and maybe we might have to go forward. We're already in the midst of a pandemic, right? And the pandemic is a separate thing, even though we know, of course, they're going to politicize and try to make it a political thing, which it is in terms of leadership. But I think the pandemic, then leading into the stressful nature of the pandemic, and then leading into the election, just has me in a space where I'm just like, oh.
You know what? And you're right. Like, it's been so hard protecting our peace. And it's so funny that we used Ice Cube to kind of lead us into this conversation about protecting your health and your state of mind while also preparing for an election. Because I think every election has its fair share of toxicity. It has its fair share of like where your anxiety attached to it, and all the things, all the emotions that comes with an election, especially a primary every 4 years. But I think again, there's something 4 years ago when Donald Trump got elected, I think it was unprecedented.
Right.
I just believe it was. And I think there's this blind hope that I think we have in America to kind of right a wrong. And it's almost like we're sitting on edge, as if, America knows what to do, but it's like we just don't know what they gonna do. Like we don't know. And I think the emotions behind that and managing that mental space is scary. It's really scary.
It is. And I think, and kind of going to your point, as far as knowing what America is supposed to do, like in my mind in 2016, I wasn't super, heavy on Mother Clinton. Like I wasn't super heavy on her.
All right.
But in comparison,
all right.
to what
Talk slowly.
In comparison to what
I love me some Hillary Rodham.
In comparison to what's sitting in the White House right now and the administration we have now, like I would have thought that America was going to do the right thing, or not necessarily the right, because
the people did the right thing. She won the popular vote.
Right. I thought America would do what was best, and I don't think that. And because even now, I don't really think right or wrong, because the United States, I think, is oftentimes wrong in a lot of things that we do and say, how we act. I thought, America would have did what was best for the nation, and then they surprised me. It didn't really surprise me. But, the day after the election, that night of the election, I was just, since then on, my mental space, when it came to the political climate or just the nation in general, has been like a mess.
The night of the election, let me tell you, I had to find coping mechanisms to deal. And I think one of the ways that I dealt with it when I woke up to that reality, I texted my supervisor and was like, not coming in. Need a mental day. And for me, it was necessary on a more like jovial note, I was sad that Hillary lost. I thought this was I thought, we had the first black president, and we can say whatever we want to say about what that meant, but it happened, right? So I thought, okay, surely if they can put a black man in there, we can get a woman and a white woman. Like, she's the wife of a former president. Like, you know what I'm saying? She can be the
experience.
Right. She could be the one that breaks this, this glass ceiling of sorts, right? I just knew it was going to happen. On top of my kind of alignment with her politics and things like that. Like, I like HRC. So on one end, I was kind of disappointed, but what really made me take that mental break, because I understood. I didn't think that Donald Trump would be all that he turned out to be.
No, I didn't. But we're far worse than I thought he would be.
I definitely, but I kind of understood what we were getting into, because I saw how like more racist people were emboldened by his candidate, him being a candidate 4 years ago. So I just I had a picture of what it could be. And then at the same time, it's just like, I think this was the first time outside of like a Reagan, right, where somebody who was like grossly unqualified to be the president of the United States. Like, you can say Obama didn't have much experience, but he has a law background. He was a community organizer. He was a state senator. He became a U.S. senator. So while he may not have been a U.S. senator long, like, he had a career and he studied and he had jobs, whether he stayed in them long or not, right? That prepared him. Like, Donald Trump is a failed businessman and a lackluster reality television host.
Right.
Like, legit. Like, that's it. That is really it. And you elected that type of, and I want y'all to think about it. Let me say that again. He is a failed businessman and a lackluster reality television host. That's what you decided can create policy and care for the American people. That's what y'all decided. And when you begin to really analyze it from that angle, there's no way in the world you should be satisfied with that level of administration.
Like, not at all. This is what I hear. Oh, he's a jerk, but he gives it to us straight. He lies.
He lies all the time.
All the time. And he's gonna restore the country back to the Lord. And
Donald Trump don't know the Lord.
He don't know Jesus. He don't know Jesus. I'm sorry to burst your bubble.
Man said 2 Corinthians.
He said 2 Corinthians. Then they asked the man. I was about to say man of God. They asked the man, name your favorite Bible verse. He said, I'm not gonna do that. There's too many good Bible verses for me to name. You couldn't name one.
Because he didn't know one.
You ain't know one we all know. For God so loved the world that he gave only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him. You ain't know that one. You ain't know Jesus wept.
Jesus wept. 2 words.
Jesus wept.
Noun and a verb. That's it. Jesus wept.
Jesus wept. But that's where we are. But even like, so since then, I would say like just every day, the level of like anxiety and just feeling of just like as if like a powder keg is about to explode. It's kind of had me on edge. And then on top of like that, just the normal stuff that's going on every time I turn on the TV, I scroll the interwebs. Everything is so highly political. Every commercial when you're watching TV, and again, we talk about, me and Josh, we love the TV. Every single commercial is a political commercial.
Yep, from the local level to state to everything is politics. And I guess that's a great way for me to ask you this, bro. What are you doing specifically as a black man to take care of your mental health in such a polarizing environment?
I've been, me, I unplug. Doing the jigsaw kind of has me connected to a certain degree to where I want to make sure I'm not like missing out on stuff. But other than that, I usually try my best to unplug if I can, because I just can't. And honestly, even when it comes to certain topics of discussion, like for instance, the other day, our friend, a good friend of ours, and he didn't mean anything by it. He was like, "Hey, if y'all want to see something that's gonna really, like make you mad, like check out this this hashtag.
Mm-hmm.
And normally we in our group chat, we make jokes and stuff like that. And, it's stuff like that's funny. And in most cases, it's funny. And it probably would have been funny. But in that moment, I was just like, I can't do that to myself.
Right.
Like, I guess because to me, I think even the older I get, the more like emotional I get when it comes to as far as like things that are going on, and the more sensitive I am to certain things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I guess my to answer your question, yes, the way I do handle it, or I don't even say handle it. I don't think I'm really handling that well. Is I'm just really I just turn it off, or I unplug, or if I'm going to be on social media, I'm trying to find stuff that's funny. Like, give me the memes, give me the stuff that's gonna make me laugh. I don't want to see anything remotely serious. Even if I see something regarding like the man that sits in our White House, I oftentimes, if I don't have the capacity to read it, if I'm not in a good space, I'm just gonna scroll right past it because I don't want to see a tweet. I don't want to see, stuff like that. I just can't. What about you?
No, the same way. I don't know that I unplug in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
But what I will agree with is that I'm not intentionally going to look for anything.
No, not at all.
So for me, I am that's why I hate the Wikipedia, because when I tell you I get caught down, I start clicking on links. And by the time I'm done, I didn't been through 30 Wikipedia pages.
Right.
That started from me trying to remember an actor's name, and then like anyway. Okay. But I say that to say, like when you say if you'd have the capacity, there are times where if I see an article 9 times out of 10, I'm probably going to read it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll probably start figuring out, like, oh, well, why did he say this? And then there was something in there that I'm not as familiar with, and I go down this rabbit hole. So for me, I do a bad job of gauging my capacity. I would say that sometimes, and I need to do better in that. But there are also ways in which I do not, like when our friend, like he meant no harm, but I'm not intentionally clicking on I think the hashtag was Blacks for Trump.
Oh,
I'm not looking that up.
No,
because I know that's gonna like piss me off. So like you said, if it's not something specific to like something we need to put, talk about on the show, or something that I need to write about in one of my blogs, or whatever, it's something I'm doing personally, like I'm not going to research ways to get me upset or to further affect my mental health, because on a larger scale, what happens in this election, like it not only affects me as a man, but it affects me as a Black man specifically.
Right.
When you think about a lot of the police brutality, while it did not start with Donald Trump, but there are so many ways that this administration has been blind or turned a blind eye to what's happening to Black and brown communities. So with that kind of leadership still in place, it puts me on consistent edge. Like, I think Black folks are already on the edge with police, but like with this level of administration, it puts you on consistent edge. So for me, unplugging would have to be literally unplugging, like going to Fargo, North Dakota in a mountain. And like, what I'm saying? And not to be that extreme, but like it would be legit me just finding pockets of joy in things that take me away from my cell phone, take me away from my computer, because like you said, it's there, and and you can't get away from. And even in like our as much as I love Blackish, I think their episode that they're about to come out with, like for their season premiere, is about the election. And I think it's going to be a great episode, because they do a great job talking about politics and current events. But at the same time, like, I also understand that because they do a really good job at it, and also because they do a really good job of making like art reality and things like that, I believe that in some ways I'm going to be triggered.
Right.
So it's going to really be about balancing, for me, like when I see the Ice Cube conversations, like being irritated with Ice Cube, but also understanding, like, no shade, but all shade. It's just Ice Cube. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, when was the last time Ice Cube really pushed the culture outside of the Straight Outta Compton movie? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but like, when was he really effective in policy? When was he really, you know what I'm saying? And then that's the other piece. I think we talked about that too. Here's the part that's confusing in mental health and trying to process it all. Why are you allowing yourself to be this puppet? Because you're an entertainer. So at some point, if you're not Like, and I don't want to say you're an entertainer as if entertainers do not have the right to push policy and advance policy. But if you've been the type of entertainer, right, who has never been political outside of saying you hate the police and things like that, but you've never been political, you've never been one kind of on the front lines. At what point now did you think you were this kind of policy savant to sit down with Donald Trump and have a conversation about the contract of Black America?
Right. And that's my thing is too, like, okay, my biggest issue, I feel that Ice Cube is an intelligent person. I really do believe he's.
Oh yeah, I don't think he's dumb at all.
But what bothers me is we saw this right when the president was elected, and he trotted out all of these athletes and entertainers, all these Black athletes and entertainers. Not one politician was trotted out. Not one person who even like
policy student,
PhD
student, would none of them. Nope.
Nobody. Even the people who he had in his cabinet that were Black were entertainers. Or like we talked about Ben Carson another time. He's a physician, but you had him in hood. When you clearly could have had an attorney or a surgeon general, you could have had him in a role that actually suited his actual skill set.
Right.
So it kind of speaks to, and that's the thing some people don't understand is about when it comes to racism, white supremacy, and stuff like that. You only see Black people in spaces of athletes and entertainers. And you also think that we're dumb enough to only believe that athletes and entertainers are the only people that have influence in our culture. Right. So not that I don't necessarily fault Ice Cube for, I do, but then I don't. I'm not going to say, Ice Cube, you're stupid for trying to talk with him. I think it's the fact that if you want to have this power or you want to speak on a behalf, why don't you bring somebody in the room with you who has the level of experience to speak to, like, and guess that's my issue. Is like, if you're willing to speak to me, you should be willing to speak to somebody else.
Right.
And like, if you should be able to go across the aisle, as they say, and speak to all of these Black people who have been in this game a long time. And even people that have been in this game, like there's so many great Black minds that are out in this world that you could have spoken to or could have helped you out with this. But the problem is that why I wouldn't do this, because all you want to do is really just try to all these Black folks. You try to all these Black preachers. You tried out all these Black college presidents. You tried out all these Black celebrities. You tried out all these people who kiss your butt, and it's not necessarily for policy. It's not necessarily for to get anything really done. It's more or less for the photo op to show, see, I do like Black people, or see, Black people do like me. It's really more so like the Kim Kardashian thing or the Kardashian thing where you just ride on Black people and you kind of suck at, like, kind of like Get Out. You use Black folk for what you need them for the resources. It's colonizing. You use Black folks for the resources and then you kind of just throw them to the side.
No, absolutely. And to me, that is another reason why it's so draining, because you have people like Ice Cube, who is really intelligent. And I don't want anybody to misconstrue what I said about he's an entertainer, right? Because I believe entertainers have, just like me and you, have the right to push for policy and to express the ways that they should be represented and their family should be represented and things like that. But I think the greater point, Brian, that you kind of put in perspective so well was that in the world of systematic racism, Black people are always, our excellence is sometimes pigeonholed into being athletes and entertainers. Right. So when you see people like Donald Trump going toward Ice Cube and not Angela Rye, right? Angela Rye who hates him, but like, you know what I'm saying? But like an Angela Rye type mind, or somebody who's going to who would really help him think through, or even a Colin Powell, right? Like he's not even reaching, going there. Like when you see that versus that, it's like, bro, he knows what, and the fact that and that's why I said, I don't blame you for having to come. That's what Steve Harvey claimed he was doing, right? But you saw how that backfired. Right. Donald Trump, not only were Black people mad at you, and Steve Harvey has recovered, unlike Chrisette Michele.
Oh, we still praying for her.
We still praying for Chrisette. But like, not only, Black people are going to be upset with you for a while, but also see how nothing happened after that meeting. It was a photo op. It was a fake conversation, and nothing else happened. So while Ice Cube may be saying, I think he responded and said, people are bad on both sides, and the Democrats said something. I think he tweeted response to someone, said the Democrats said they're going to wait till after the election to talk about the contract with Black America, whatever they're calling it. And actually, rightfully so. because there's no need for me to really have a conversation with you unless I know I'm going to be in a position of power. Because here's the other piece, and you can, write crazy to me if you want. Biden has an agenda and policies in place where he's addressing Black issues, social justice, justice reform, HBC. He has a plan that addresses these things. I don't think that the plans are perfect. I don't think that they are the end all be all, but he has a plan. So before he begins to really entertain this kind of convoluted contract with Black America or whatever that is, let's think through ways we can get Biden elected, and let's take this contract, whatever it is, and use that as a measurement, as a means to hold this administration accountable. So I don't think that the administration telling you that, hey, let's work together and then let's look at this once we're elected, I don't think that's a no. I think that is a strategic move to say, we're not going to haphazardly say, fire all the white police. Because we don't know what's in this. We don't know what's in this contract, right? And Donald Trump ain't gonna do 99.9% of the stuff that's in there. No. You literally just felt good because you was like, well, at least he listened. Okay, whatever. He listened to Steve Harvey, and again, nothing came out of that conversation. So
nothing.
My point is that when you see people, I guess one of the ways, and I don't know if y'all taking notes or not, but one of the ways that you can control your mental health during this time and this space and this political season is to not allow the loudness of celebrity content or the antics of the current administration to throw you off or to take you to a place where you're ranting and you're raving unnecessarily. Because one, you're going to be in the comments and stuff likely talking to yourself because these celebrities ain't about to respond to you
at all.
But at the same time, you have to be in a space where you can be angry, you can write think pieces and everything you want to, but don't get so caught up in that you lose sight on what you actually can do. And that's voting. That's encouraging family members and friends to be active in the process. That's galvanizing and organizing your own communities, right? So I think it is a balance of not getting caught up in social media and celebrity news hype, but remaining realistic, specifically because we only have 20-something odd days left. So this is not the time for us to be distracted, because I think distraction is a form of mental health abuse, if I'm gonna be honest.
Right.
I think it can serve as one.
Yeah. Yeah, and I agree with that. I'm actually just trying to pull up some of the think about the name of it's the Platinum Plan. How you think niggas all we care about is freaking platinum. You know what I'm saying? Think about that.
Yeah, no, I get it.
One of the things safe urban neighborhoods with highest policing standards. Give Black churches the ability to compete for federal resources for their community.
Okay.
Immigration policy that protects American jobs. If you read through the lines, you know what I'm saying? Just it's foolish. But I think increase access to capital in Black communities by almost $500 billion. And the thing is, it's interesting. It's the fact of I have this plan in place and I'm going to do this over the next 4 years. It's kind of and granted, no politician has ever really done tremendously well by the Black community. And they use this to get votes. But this is just clear, if you just trust me for the next 4 years, I'm gonna do this. I guarantee you, as soon as if he gets reelected, it's gonna be oh well, thank y'all, God bless you. And again, I don't cape for any party. However, my belief is that I believe that we can probably hold Kamala and Joe's feet to the fire better than we can do with Donald Trump.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the points that I'm going to consistently make. It's the level of accountability that we can have with this administration. That's what I'm saying. Nothing that you said, that you read from that plan, I disagree with.
Mm-mm.
I know for a matter of a fact that these are things that the Trump administration is not going to push. I also think that these are things that the Biden administration aren't against. And if you look at some of his policies, some of that is already up in there. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I think we have to be, just because you wrote it out. And here's the other piece. We have to stop just because we think that both parties are inherently evil.
Right.
And you can believe whatever you want. There are policy recommendations and suggestions that are in place. Okay. And with those policy recommendations and suggestions being in place, what you must also very much understand is that when you have such a disdain for the candidate, when you have such a disdain for what you believe he or she is not or will not do, what you've likely also done is not really read and not really pay attention to the policies that they're already proposing. So you can write out this whole platinum plan, or you call it the contract with Black America and all these different types of things. And because you don't really like Biden, because you don't really agree with him, you've probably not read his stuff, and you're trying to convince him to incorporate policies that they've already talked about, that they're already pushing the needle toward. So sometimes it's a matter of sitting at the table that, you know what, before I write him off, before I do this, let me actually step back and see what he's saying, what he's not saying, and then let's create something that maybe contrasts or complements. But until then, and I think for me as well, keeping this focus on mental health, that is a mental health exercise.
Right.
Before we get so angry about what a particular party is doing or is not doing, let's actually do the research. Let's not allow our hate to be fueled by what we assume. And this is not a cape for Donald Trump, because there is plenty of proof to show how terrible of a person he is. But when it comes in terms of really recognizing what we need to be voting for, the policies, the legislation, even at the local level, what we should be supporting, I think we need to sit down and really, and if you don't know how to do the research, find somebody who does. Like, go to websites, find organizations who have broken down what candidates stand for, what some of these policies and procedures and stuff really mean, some of these new laws that we're going to be asked to vote on, what this stuff really means. And then once you have that, now let's make an informed decision. Now let's figure out ways to hold them accountable. Now let's put together strategic plans, or align yourself with organizations and individuals that are putting together plans, because otherwise you're going to be creating like this entire mental just kind of warp you're putting yourself in, trying to balance it all, and it's not necessary. Like, we have so many other things to worry about. Like, we literally just talked about SARS in Nigeria.
Yep.
Our brothers and sisters are being harassed by our own people, because of a corrupt system. And so there's so many things. We're in a freaking pandemic. Like, people have lost jobs, people are losing houses, people are getting kicked out. Like, my kids are virtual, and you have other parents who don't understand, who can't figure out what to do with virtual reality, with schools and stuff. Like, there's so many things that are stressing Americans, that are stressing us, our mental, our physical, and even our social capacity, that we should not allow all of the rhetoric of this election to add to that. Now, some of that, like the way that this pandemic has been handled, is a direct result of poor leadership.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But on top of that, we should not be so caught up to where we're losing our mental, you know what I'm saying, because of him and that foolishness and what they fighting for, when we got so many other things that we could be putting our energy and focus into.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I think even just if we really focused on every commercial, we focus on everything that's being said, and right now there's so much going on, if we focus on all of that, it would literally drive us insane. And we have to be on the couch like every day, because it's just so much. We're inundated with so much information. Most of it is misinformation, which is why, to your point, Josh, you really need to go out there and do your due diligence, so that you can kind of know what is, I don't want to say truth and lie, because everything's kind of laced with a little bit of lie, but what is, I guess, more accurate than what we probably will see on TV. My understanding, I read an article even about election anxiety, and usually this is the year that, not this year, but during the elections, usually people have encountered the most anxieties during the election years.
Yeah.
So I want to encourage those that are probably feeling a little bit anxious and are having some issues, that you're not alone. You're not the only person out there who feels the weight or the pressure of what's going on. You're not the only person who feels, at some point, we can be honest with, it's like fearful in a sense, or anxious about what could be the outcome, either 4 more years of the same thing, or even 4 years of a new administration. So I would definitely want to encourage you. You're not like alone. One thing I think it's kind of driving me there, and I've gone to therapy in past, but I feel like I may need to just go back, because not necessarily about the election, but just in general to set myself up just in case, I'm in a different place in my life. But I definitely think it's something I need to probably get back into, sit down and talk to somebody just about life in general. But I definitely feel like I may need to do something if we get 4 more years of the same thing.
No, absolutely. And I'm gonna be honest, bro. Just even with this conversation, I think the way that I'm gonna wrap it up, because I think my mental capacity for it is slipping, is that 2020 was absolutely the wrong year to not have a therapist or a counselor.
I agree.
And I thank God for my therapist and what she's been. Got a session scheduled next week, every other Wednesday. But no, I think that's one of the ways, like, if you can't afford, and I understand therapy can be expensive, but there are so many resources now for free therapy and discounted therapy. And like with my insurance, virtual sessions have been free until the end of 2020.
Oh, sweet.
So if you like, I prefer in person, but if you're the kind of person who just needs it, like if you have, I don't know if it's all, I'm not going to throw my insurance carry out there, but like with certain insurances, you ought to check, because like mine, it went from which my copay is actually really decent too. But it went from the copay that I had to pay every time to legit, if I did straight virtual, it'll be free. It'll just be free. So like really look into your plans, use your EPAs, look up therapy. For like I posted it in the description before, but we'll definitely put some in the description box this week too. Therapy for Black girls, therapy for Black men, Henry Health, Talkspace, Better Health, all those places is like where you can find resources. And like with Talkspace, like, and this is not an ad, this is not even a joke. Like, we would love your sponsorship, but on some for real stuff, right? Talkspace and Better Health typically can give you a month full of sessions for the cost of what one session would be. So like, it's definitely worth you looking into it and finding ways to unplug, finding ways to talk through your anxiety. Because one thing that you may learn is that you'll begin to get tools and resources on how to deal with things that you can't control. Because that's really what some of this is too. Like, it is true, voting has power, but after you've done your part, the rest of that control is literally usurped from you. You can't do anything else after it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have the power to make change with our voices, but after you as an individual have done all that you can do, that's all that you could have done. But that does not mean the anxiety goes away. That does not mean that the depression isn't real. It does not mean that you don't have whatever the emotion, the anger, the sadness, the whatever, right? And we have to begin to find ways to find pockets of joy and reclaim our humanity, our joy, the freedom of expression that makes us happy, the freedom that wants us, that allows us to be able to dance and enjoy and to live holistically and full lives. And a lot of times this political climate unfortunately robs us of that joy.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So as I back away from the mic, from this living room conversation, I just want to say, find the space if you have the resources to get in with some therapy, some therapist, some counselor. And if you don't have the resources and don't have the space, find you a trusted voice, a rational, reasonable voice to be able to discuss and talk through these things. Shoot right into us. And while we're not therapists, I do think we carry a modicum of wisdom where we can kind of help you. That's what this podcast is about. Navigate life as you try to find your way through this overwhelming sense of anxiety and confusion, because we are right there with you. You are not by yourself. So.
Right. And I'm glad you actually said that. I'm going to kind of go into something and speaking on mental health and speaking about the Ask the Jigsaw. We actually did a good question regarding mental health, and I kind of would like your answer or your response regarding that. And the question was, say you are dealing with anxiety, depression, and stuff like that. How do you deal when you're expressing that to somebody and they act like you're either overreacting or they don't understand what you're talking about? How would you approach that situation?
Sure. So ask it to me one more time.
All right. So Roxanne, keep the name anonymous. Roxanne said, "Okay, how do you deal when you're dealing with the depression, anxiety, and you're expressing your anxiety or your potential depression to somebody, your loved ones, and they either feel like you're overreacting or they just really don't understand or they don't want to understand what you're going through.
I think, to be honest with you, and we'll do an official PO box later, I believe, but we'll answer this since we're talking about mental health. Honestly, you remove yourself from that person in that conversation.
Right.
I don't think that you have to be rude about it, but what you can literally, after you've expressed and they tell that you're overreacting or blah, 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 what you can say, because here's the thing. You have the right to feel, you got me in my bag now. You have the right to feel what you feel. Like, your feelings are valid. So if you are feeling anxiety, you're feeling depression. Here's the other piece. Unfortunately, as crazy as their reaction may be, they also have the right to feel what they feel. Like, their feelings are also valid. They feel like you are overreacting. But here's the kicker. No one can explain to you or discount what you feel. So you also have the right and the responsibility to, like, you know what I don't need is this added level of negative energy multiplying what my anxiety is, and diminishing my depression and diminishing my feelings is likely adding to this continued negative state that I'm in. So before I go down a rabbit hole of saying or trying to further convince you, because it's never, here's the thing, it is never your place. It is never your place to convince somebody else how you feel. Right. You feel what you feel. And that's that. And if they feel as though they don't believe it, or they don't want to accept it, or they want to Jesus you to death, or whatever it is, like, then you also have the space and the capacity to be like, you know what, I'm gonna back away from it. Because you're not I was obviously giving this to you because I trust you. I was obviously giving this to you because I expected some type of, I don't know, peace from you or whatever, and you were unable to give me that. So instead of going down, like I said, a rabbit hole, or being so frustrated to the place where I'm not better, I'd rather remove myself from everything that you're bringing, and until you're ready to accept it, or I'm ready to allow you back in, I'm in a better space to allow you back in my space. So here's the thing. You don't have to feel bad for never allowing them back into that space. Okay. You don't ever have to feel bad for not allowing them back into that space. Because I think so many times, especially when it's family or friends, we have this guilt per se. We have this guilt per se about people that we're close to, and kind of feeling the pressure of allowing them in our spaces, when I don't care who they are, mama, daddy, brother, sister, pastor, I don't care who they are. If they are not serving you in a way that is building up your mental health, that is serving you and pushing you forward, then there are no guaranteed spots in your life. Right. So you do not have to feel a guilt from pushing yourself away from people who do not serve you in ways that benefits the productivity of your mental, social, and emotional well-being. So, Roxanne, what I want to tell you is that the way you deal with it is that you can have the conversations if you're comfortable, but the next conversation you need to have is the now level of boundary that you have with them, and for them to whether they like it or not, what they're going to have to respect is that is how you feel, and they are no longer welcome in your space in that capacity again.
I would add something to that, but that's pretty much, I think that's the same thing I would say, is that, you are entitled to your feelings. Your feelings are real. And if they cannot accept that, then there's nothing else you can do about it.
That's that.
All right. Well, this was, do you anything else for the living room conversation? Do you have anything else you want to talk about? Or
no, man, I think I've exhausted that. And you know what we'll do? Actually, this will be our first official PO box. You got your question right on in. We were able to, because it tied so greatly into our conversation today about protecting your peace in the midst of this crap fest. Woo, that was a word that was right there. Thank you, God. Thank you, Father, for taking it off my lips. So no, I don't have anything else to add, bro. Anything else you want to add about protecting your peace and your space in this political environment?
Other than the fact that, like, just, your peace is important. and your mind is all you really have. So please protect it at all costs. Your mental health is wealth, and like maintain that regardless of what situation you got to deal with or what you're dealing with. Protect your peace at all costs, and I'm pretty sure your peace will protect you in the end. So that's pretty much it. That's all I got.
So that's a beautiful way to get right on into some Black man self-care. Let's get into I Am My Brother's Keeper. Let's do it.
Great way.
All right, y'all. So here we are with I Am My Brother's Keeper. And Brian, what you got going on for self-care this week?
Bro. So I told you my in-laws are gonna be in town.
Listen.
So they are still in town. Thank God. And I've been taking seriously advantage. They love my in-laws. Shouts out to Al and Jan. They treat me and my wife tremendously. And of course, we have a young daughter who's now 1. God bless you, Brooklyn. And they have been doing an amazing job of really just pouring into us. We like to come when people come over our house, we like to, do stuff for them, but they come in, they're doing so many things for us, they're taking care of our daughter, all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to take advantage of that even more. I'm going to try to find some time for me and my wife to go out. I'm going to take some time out for me and my wife to kind of get together, even though it's not, let's just talk about marriage here.
All right.
So
marriage stuff.
There are moments where we definitely need to be, our own separate and take care of ourselves. Sometimes if we are one person or we're one unit, again, sometimes me taking care of my wife.
Two become one. That's what the word said.
And man of God, I want to become one this weekend.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah. Some hip fat.
Listen, I want to know about that WAP. So I'm trying to get in on it. So
you was the whopping that had.
Come on, somebody. Hello, church.
You'll catch that had later if it wished you.
Yeah.
HAD.
Come on, somebody. Come on, somebody.
Oh, man.
So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm thinking about doing something like that. Going out, just hanging out, eat dinner. May or may not come back home. Yeah, I might, talk to the in-laws and say, hey, we're gonna go find somewhere for us to sleep this night. Because they are definitely capable of taking care of our daughter. They did a wonderful job and she loves them dearly. So, I'm gonna, take care of myself by taking care of my wife, and hopefully she'll take care of me.
That is all right. I love that.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah, man. So, you heard that I stopped teaching my classes on Saturday.
Oh, yeah.
However, one of my favorite gyms has opened back up, and while I have been kind of weary of going back to the gym, I'm going to go to Effect Fitness Saturday. I'm going to boot camp.
Okay. All right.
So anyone who knows Effect Fitness, it is this like militant style boot camp. It is tough. It is tough. People who think my classes are tough, you ain't been to Effect. It's tough. But on a regular Saturday, the beauty of Effect is that it is like black. It is if the Blessup Report was a place, it's Effect Fitness.
It is.
So
it
is.
To shout them out one of these times.
Right. So it is literally a black-owned gym with extra black trainers. They also highlight black health and wellness shops. Like there's a juice bar on by one of the trainers. And then they have like this black like vendor stuff that's all like, I mean, it's just, and then in the parking lot, and not to say that our wealth and excellence is subscribed to material things, but you see Maseratis and like Teslas, and basically Effect Fitness on a Saturday is everything that media and society says black people are not. They say that we're not successful. They say that we're not healthy. They say that we don't care about our health. They say that we don't own businesses. And every stereotype is broken every single weekend.
Oh, yeah.
In the hood. Because it's on Metropolitan. It's in the hood.
Right.
But they do such a great job of curating community and blah, blah, blah. So that's a shout out to them. We'll officially shout them out one day.
Right.
But I said all that to say, with all that going on and with the popularity of it, they would easily stuff like 300 of us in this room, in this boot camp. And it was great, right? The community was great. But I will say I've been following them since the pandemic, and they've been so methodical about how they have been able, they went from this entire virtual space to slowly only letting their personal training clients back in to now reopening boot camp. Because you can imagine that a space that fit 300. Now we were packed in there with 300, but but even though we were packed, there still was enough space for you to do all of your workout moves. And they were kind of sometimes wild moves and not hit anybody, not bump into nobody. So you still had enough space for you. They have decreased that from 300 people to about 70 people. So there is, so every, like your space is 6 feet apart. You can't pay like in person anymore. You have to pay through the app. So everything is contactless. You have to bring your own equipment now. Like they provide your brick, because it's a brick class, but I think, but they also do like weights and leg bands. So you have to bring your own stuff. So everything is so well thought out, and there are so many measurements and things in place that I'm going to go this Saturday. Okay. And for me, working out is a way of escape. For me, number one. And then number two, just being in that Black, beautiful environment, although it won't be as big and robust as it was, just kind of being back there and kind of feeling some sense of normalcy is going to be really good for me. So while I'm not going to lie, I'm a little nervous, but I'll report back to you all how it was. And I trust it. These are just well thought out Black people who are doing business really well. Oh yes. And and that's another thing. I trust it. I don't even trust LA Fitness, but I trust Effect for what they're doing and how they're going to keep us clean and safe. And so that's what I'm doing, bro. And I'm excited about it. So I'll let y'all know how it goes.
Yeah, that sounds exciting. I can't wait to see it. I'm definitely gonna follow them on Instagram. I follow them on Instagram now, but I'm definitely gonna check it out.
And I'm doing the 8 a.m. class, and I think that's when they record. So if y'all want to see me, when that camera hits me, I'm gonna be doing it all. When the camera comes off of me, mind your business, because I might be passed out.
Because if you ain't affecting a long, you working at home, but Effect is like a whole nother level.
Oh, it is. It is.
Because your J work was tough, but I'm
Effect is a whole nother level. But yeah, that's it, bro. It sounds so. You enjoy yourself. I'm gonna be enjoying myself, and we'll report back next week. But let's get on here and talk about stuff, because I got a conversation I gotta have with the people, a place that you Blacks love. I gotta talk to y'all about something. So let's get on into a greater conversation. I'm ready. Gosh. I am ready.
I'm scared.
Let me talk. Let me talk.
So welcome back, y'all. Here we are for a greater conversation. Brian, did you have anything? Because I got some stuff to say.
I'm gonna let you go first, because I felt like that the fire of the Lord, the anger of the Lord was upon you. So I'm gonna step back a little bit and concede the space to you and let you drag whoever needs to be dragged.
Yeah, I got Old Testament wrath on me. So typically, most Fridays, let me just start here. And this is the place that you Blacks love. It's the American Deli.
Blacks.
It's the American Deli. So most Fridays in the Rodgers house, we call it hot sauce chicken night, right? So when my oldest child was, he's young, but he was a lot younger, he used to always call hot wings hot sauce chicken. Like that was, and so we've kind of stuck with, it's a little cute Rodgers family thing. Don't judge us, judge your mama.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful, right? Black tradition. So anyway, every Friday is hot wings. We literally live less than 5 minutes from an American Deli. So if you come out of our subdivision, you make a left, like right up a block, it's right there. So this particular Friday was a kind of interesting. Last Friday was interesting. I'm giving you this context so you can know what my emotional state already was, right?
Paint the picture, Reverend. Paint the picture.
So every Friday, my wife is a school social worker, and we do the virtual learning thing, but she has to go into the building once a week, and Friday is her day. So most Fridays, I'm doing the virtual learning thing by myself, okay? I'm not one of those dads that say I'm on daddy duty and blah, 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 because it's not my duty. It's my responsibility. These are my children. But what I will say is that on Fridays, I do it alone, when typically it is a joint effort. So it takes a little bit more out of me, right? And I've already talked to you about the ways in which my children have kind of gotten on my nerves during the pandemic, because we've been stuck in the house with each other since March, right? So Friday can be, it can go one or two ways. It can go really, really well, or it can be like, woo, Ash, where you at? Come get these kids. So anyway, she decided, well, she has every right to, that this particular Friday she was going to go out with a coworker. After work, they was gonna catch up. Fine. So she got here maybe a little before dinner time. So 6ish. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go run. I need to make a Target run. So I'm gonna go to Target. Shout out to Scotch Porter. I got my stuff. I got me some beard balm and serum and stuff from the Scotch Porter.
Good stuff.
So I wanted to go to Target to get that. I needed some deodorant, so a little bit of stuff from the Target, right? So I went to Target and I said, all right, I'm gonna pick up the wings on the way home. I did not order them. Why didn't I pre-call them? I forgot why I didn't call them, but I didn't. So I got there and I was extra hungry. So I ordered a 50-piece, 25 hot lemon pepper, and the other 25 medium, mild with the large fry. Okay. I was order number 169. I still ain't forgot about it, right? So I go stand to the side over there where you pick up your orders. Now, because I got a 50-piece, I knew that my order wasn't going to take like too long, but I knew it would probably take a little bit longer than your normal order. So the people who were behind me, I think they got like a 6-piece, and one got like a Philly cheesesteak. They got like small stuff. So she was calling out orders, and I was 169. So 170 and 171 order had gotten called. But again, I didn't think too much of it because I had a whole 50-piece wing, bro. Split between 2 flavors and a large fry. So I'm like, okay, cool. Anyway, once she gives away order 171, she said, excuse me, sir, what's your ticket number? I said 169. She said, your food is gone. So I walk up to the thing and I said, how? I said, no one has called 169. She said, oh, it's been a long time ago. And I said, it could have been too long ago. You just called 170. Like you literally just called 170. I said, so where's my food? She's like, I don't know, but somebody picked up your food. So at that point, bro, I lost it. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? Like I said either one or two things need to happen. You need to run me my money, which I'm really not interested in because I'm hungry, or go in the kitchen and fry me 50 more pieces of chicken. Like that's really it. So I started getting louder and louder, and she was 10 toes down on the fact that my food was already gone. So I stepped back and I called my wife and I'm like, Asha, and she's like, babe, what you want me to do? I said, and I try not to get frustrated with her. And I'm like, but I don't really need you to do anything. I'm calling you because if I go to jail, you know why. So while Asha's on the phone, I go back up to I think we got disconnected. I got to go back to the counter. I said, you need to find me my chicken. And then the little fry cooks come up there. And I told them, I said, all y'all little girls, go back there and say, unless you finna fry me some chicken, ain't no need you come up here trying to help her. She need to find my food. So she take my little receipt, go to the back, and they be like, she like, did you fry? And they like, I don't, because they're frying, because it's a Friday night, bro. Right. They frying so many chicken, they don't probably remember what orders they fulfill. They just putting chicken in boxes. So I'm like, and I said, ma'am, I've been standing right here. You've noticed me standing right here, which also means that you did not see me. You did not give me food. So anyway, long story less long, right? We went back and forth another 2 or 3 times. So I finally stopped. It was like, you know what? Speaking of political climates, let me calm down, because I also live in Cobb County. Let me calm down so the police will not get called on me over chicken wings. So I went to the other chicken spot where they got better sides anyway. They got fried okra. America, they don't have fried okra. Okay. And I went and got me another 50-piece, and I've called Bank of America to report it, to get the transaction reversed, because I never received my stuff. So, rightfully so. But anyway, here's the piece. If you're going to put a ticket number on items and receipts and call them out, don't do that and then to haphazardly just be giving away food. Look at the ticket, because that clearly means if my food did get given away, somebody came and picked it up, or you just didn't make it and forgot or whatever. Because here's the other piece I noticed. When she was telling me that somebody picked up my food, there were like 2 or 3 boxes of food that were sitting there the entire time, and other people was coming to get their food, and those 2 bags never left. Which means that was whoever, somebody probably did, and you probably gave them my stuff by mistake, and then here's their stuff, right? So my thing is, don't even have ticket numbers if you're not going to check them, if you're not going to verify them. Because bro, I'll be honest with you. In times past, like when they call out let's say 140, you just walk up there and you get your food. They don't ever look at your receipt. Right. So, but it was in that moment where I had to say, this is why you actually need to look at receipt, not just so I can hear my number, so that you can verify, because somebody is at home with my 50 pieces of chicken, and they probably didn't bring it back because it could have been a similar order. It was like, oh, whatever, it ain't that bad, we'll eat it. But my thing is, you didn't even You didn't even like, you saw me standing there. You didn't even offer me my money back. You didn't offer me a 20 piece. You didn't offer me anything. You refused. You doubled down on not giving me my food. And we go to American Deli every Friday.
Not no more.
Every Friday. And some weeks we have been going there multiple times for like lunch or maybe, get a little something here, a little something there. I will never patronize the American Deli in Austell, Georgia on Floyd Road again. I wish that you were like this. I wish you was like, because a lot of the American Delis are really small franchises and owned by, some of our Asian brothers and sisters and things like that. I ain't got no shame against y'all, make y'all money doing y'all thing. But what you will not do, what you will not do is have poor business practices and then try to think like a Negro like me. So my one complaint, my bad Yelp review that I've already written, dragging y'all through the ground, my bad Google review that I've already written, I called the non-emergency hotline here in Georgia. I did all of the things. All of the things that I could do. What I will let you know, you took me out of my character, and I'm not necessarily proud of that, but I'm not necessarily ashamed of it either, because you deserve the reading that you got. You and the little fry cooks in the back deserve the dragging that I gave y'all, and I wish that it happens. I don't want it to happen to somebody else, but I hope it happens to a few more people so you can get dragged again, and then y'all can reconsider the ways in which that you treat people, because not only was it just poor business, it was poor customer service. You yelled at me. You talked about. Then she had the nerve to tell me, like, you need to talk to the family. Like, Trick, what family? I don't know who took my food.
Exactly.
And you didn't call 169 because I'm standing right here. I heard you call 170. Heard you call all these numbers. Like, why would I intentionally? Why would American Deli was getting crowded? We're in a pandemic. Why would I intentionally stand in this small space waiting for chicken, smelling like hot wings? Because I just want to be, I don't want to be in here. I want my food and I'm ready to go. It's raining, it's dark, and I'm hungry. Like, bro, that was my first meal of the day. So I was like hungry.
Right. So
like, there's no reason why I'm going to be standing here unnecessarily. Run me my chicken or run me my $40. Plain and simple. But it's okay. I get my money reversed. And when your books are short by $40, you can reconcile that with the little girl at the register, because maybe she stole the money. I don't know. But Bank of America gave my money back. So that's it. Business owners, do better. Like, customer service is a thing. I know there are some shady people out there who would try to like scam y'all and do that, but I ain't one of them. And I know y'all know my black face. I'm coming there literally every week, sometimes multiple times a week. So for you to even treat me that way is even more of a slap in the face. I will never, I'm not going to stop going to American Deli, period. But that one, I will never patronize. I mean, never patronize it again. And if you come to my house, don't you walk in my house with no American Deli from Floyd Road, because you're going to have to sit in your car and eat it. I don't want it in here. I don't want it in here. Ooh. And that's it from me.
That was a read of all reads. But it kind of made me hungry, though.
I didn't got upset all over again. You know how hungry I was, Brian.
I can feel it. I feel it.
And that hot lemon pepper.
It's amazing. Was it fried hard?
With extra lemon pepper sprinkles, you know how I am. I'm the green. I still like my chicken fried hard with lemon pepper sprinkles. Y'all know what I be talking about. And I was, Brian, you ain't antagonizing me. Okay. Thank you all for listening. This is another episode of the Jigsaw Podcast. Oh, man.
We do appreciate y'all for listening.
We do appreciate y'all for listening.
And unlike, that American Deli on Florida Road, please patronize us and follow all of our social media handles and tags and whatever they call it these days. At the Jigsaw Podcast on Instagram. Please, just tag somebody, give us a good rating and review on any platform that you can find podcasts. We are
5 stars only.
5 stars only. If you do put something less than 5 stars, we will find you.
We will find you.
We will find you.
I also want to give a shout out to Roxanne. Thank you for bringing in the first question, the first official, unofficial P.O. box. Like I said, we're it's going to be an official segment, but it just fits so perfectly into what we were talking about. We're going to definitely make sure that we have an important segment. And just like we did, we gave her a pseudonym, so all people will be kept anonymous and your privacy will be respected. So be sure to write in to askthejigsaw@gmail.com with all of your questions, and we'll read them here on the show and give you the best answer that we can give you. Any announcements your way, Brian?
No announcements that I can think of. I think we're going to be doing like a panel discussion at a conference soon.
Yes, you and I are on a panel. So
We are on a panel. It is the global conference. I will put the link in the we'll put the link in the what's this thing called in the
you'll put it in the
bio.
description box.
In the description box.
Yep.
Put it there. Unless I can figure out what it is real quick. Say something while I find out.
Got you. So I am also on a panel next week as well, October 22nd. The Greater North Fulton Chamber of Commerce is hosting this panel discussion called Misperceptions in the Workplace. Why don't they understand us? And we're it's talking about bridging the gap between stereotypes and generational workplaces. So I'm super excited. I don't really know I don't think they know what they got themselves into by inviting me.
Right.
But what I will say is that I am going to be authentically Josh. I am going to be Black. And I'll also put the link to register. It's a free event. It's virtual. It's next, this coming Tuesday at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you have capacity, I would love for all my Jigsaw people to be there listening and supporting, and we're gonna talk about these misconceptions, perceptions that are in the workplace, and why they don't understand us as Black folk, why they don't understand us as millennials. So pull on through and be there with your boy and support. And while Brian is finding that, we on that panel too. We're gonna be talking about I think ways that we engage the community. Mm-hmm. And community engagement and community support. So that's something also near and dear to me and Brian's heart. But we're going to put that event, the link in the description box as well, so you'll be able to support us all week next week.
Yes, and it's next global virtual conference. It's October 24th through the 25th. It's a 2-day conference. It's all online, so you don't have to do anything. You don't have to go anywhere. You can just pretty much log in and do that. Please go out there. The tickets are on sale now. Early bird pricing ends on the 17th. If you really want to go, if you really want to be a part of it, DM me in advance, and we can try to see if we can work something out with the conference I guess leader, to see if we can get some kind of discounted prices for Jigsaw listeners. So yeah, this next global conference, nextglobalvirtualconference.com. If you are in leadership, you are a person that's in business, you're in customer service, or you're doing human resource, if you do anything, you have a dream, a vision, a goal, this is a conference for you. So please check that out. Tickets are already on sale right now, and I think it's going to be beneficial to you and your life. But also, Josh and I will be on the panel, so please support us, right? So
you're going to be on there talking about the things.
We're going to be talking about all the things.
So, yeah, I think that officially wraps us up. So, anything else you want to leave it with, Brian?
No, I think you got this. Let the people, I know you're calmed down now. So let the people know what they need to do.
We're going to not let this life, regardless of whether American Deli messes up your order or not, we will not let this life stress us out. Okay, we're gonna do what my homegirl Albertina Clark says. She said, "Pray for the USA, homicide rates." No, Mr. Clark's. Anyway, but we gonna pray. We're going to stay encouraged. We are not going to let life stress us out. But what we are going to do is what we can, while we can, the best ways that we can.
Yes.
But regardless of it all, we will not get caught. What, Brian?
With our works undone.
We won't get caught with them works undone. That's a rip, y'all. We'll see y'all next week. Love y'all.
Love you.